Refugee. A person who has been forced to leave their country in order to escape war, persecution, or natural disaster. 51% of refugees are school-aged children under the age of 18. More than half of all refugees that come from three main countries: Syria, Afghanistan, and South Sudan. In most cases, refugees are not able to return home or are afraid to go back because of the conditions of their country. In recent years, the topic on refugees are becoming more and more popular. A lot of countries have people who are running away from their homeland in search of security and protection. A problem with refugees is that a lot of them are being forced to migrate or leave countries. Genocide, poverty, hunger, displacement, and separation from loved ones are some of the many atrocities refugees around the world face every day. More than 22 million Syrian refugees are on the run, most finding refuge in neighboring countries, but others being displaced in their own country. For almost every 1 in 100 people are forced to leave their home country, and an estimated 35% of them are under the age of 18. In 2011, there were roughly 26.4 million people displaced eternally within their country of origin by conflict. At the end of 2013, there were 16.7 million refugees worldwide, with the highest number in Pakistan. Under international law, refugees are not allowed to be forced back to the countries they have fled. Developing countries host 80% of the world's refugees. A total of 895,000 individual applications for asylum or refugee status were submitted to governments and UNHCR offices in 166 countries in 2011. Roughly 11% of these requests were fulfilled.
Today we're going to find out what people think about refugees. And to do that, we're going to interview our teachers.
Should the United States accept more refugees from Syria?
I think people are fleeing from a war zone should have special priority for being admitted. So yes, we should take more.
Should we admit the Guatemalan caravan refugees?
I think there is a civil war going on in Guatemala. I think these people are just trying to highlight it. So rather than taking advantage of their bringing it into the news, they should try to process them if they're really fleeing a civil war like the Syrians are. I think that most refugees are probably coming for economic reasons. Those should probably have to wait. But the people who are fleeing warfare, very dangerous. There's no food, personal hazards. They should be admitted with a priority.
Should refugees from all countries be accepted into the United States?
Yes, I think when I was younger, the government would pick and choose. So if we had friendly relations with the government, they would not want to admit their refugees because it would look badly on the government. So I think they should examine the situation for the families, especially for children, to make sure if it's a government very friendly to us, a government we don't like, we should try to treat them the same because the children, the families would be suffering in the same way.
What is your take on refugees today as well as what's happening with them?
The United States is a country based on immigration, and therefore refugees also have had an impact on American society. In today's society, refugees are being discriminated against at a higher level than normal, but this is not something that hasn't happened in the American past. There was the Chinese Exclusion Act, the Immigration Act of 1924, and the Refugee Act of 1980, to name a few, that placed restrictions or quotas on the admission of refugees as well as other restrictions during American history. What's happening today is nothing new. It's just being more publicized through social media and other news outlets because of the current administration and their policies that are promoting things like travel bans and stricter immigration controls.
What are most refugees fleeing from?
Most refugees are fleeing from religious persecution, political oppression, or economic depression. The United States has always been a haven for refugees to escape these difficulties that exist in the countries of their origin. Cuba, Vietnam, and several Central American and South American countries are perfect examples.
Do you think all refugees should be welcomed into the U.S.?
Allowing all refugees into the United States creates a division in the politics of our nation, as we have seen lately in the United States. Although we are a nation of immigrants and refugees, there are political factions that would suggest that we do not allow refugees into the United States at all. The problem with allowing all refugees into the United States is that a certain percentage may actually be looking to enter for malevolent reasons. I am not against refugees or immigrants, but I think a more thorough vetting process should be in place. The United States as a nation is a melting pot of cultures and will continue to be so, but opening the borders to everyone will create economic, social, and political problems in the future that we may not be aware of at this point in time.
Thank you.
We hand out these wristbands to promote awareness for an ongoing conflict around the world.
Helping and supporting refugees, guys.
Help and support refugees.
Help and support refugees.
Help and support refugees.
Help and support refugees.